friends and welcome to Dream Classes. Now today we are going to learn 12th first topic, that is reproduction in organism. This is the first topic and first unit. So let's start it. Lifespan, this is the first term. Lifespan means period from birth to the natural death. This is the lifespan. Accidental death is not considered as a lifespan. Lifespan means period from birth to the natural death. No organism is immortal. Immortal means each and every organism has a death, and immortal means no death. So that's why no organism is immortal in universe except unicellular organism. Why exception is unicellular organism? Because in unicellular organism, parent body divides and serves as and life as another parent body. So unicellular organisms are excuse me, unicellular organism are immortal. Or we can say that in unicellular organism, growth is equal to reproduction. Then in that lifespan, some phases are present. That is juvenile phase. Some phases in life span. First is juvenile phase. Second is reproductive phase. Third is aging. Fourth is senescence phase. And last is death. These are the some phases. Juvenile phase. In that phase, development of organism is taking place, or development of body parts is taking place. In that phase, reproduction is upset. Then is reproductive phase. In that reproductive phase, this is the phase in which reproduction or gonads are mature, or in that case here we call as the puberty phase. This is the puberty in which gonads means in male testis and in female ovary. These both together are called as a gonads. These are the gonads in which gonads become mature mature and capable for and capable for reproduction. Then the aging. Aging means increasing age or development goes on gradually. This is the development. Census phase at which reproductive capability is lost. Reproductive capability completely lost. And death, it is the last phase where the complete cessation of body is taking place. Complete cessation of body is taking place. These are the some phases. I will revise again. Juvenile phase. In that phase where development of organs, no reproductive capacity. In reproductive phase, or it is the puberty in animals case, in which gonads become mature. Gonads means in female ovary and in male testes, and ovary and testes both are known as the gonads. And it becomes the mature and capable for the reproduction. This is the reproductive age. Aging means development. When we are children and we are young ones, this is the development. So this is the aging. Census, reproductive capability is completely lost. This aging and census both are completely different phases. Then last one is the death, where complete cessation of the body is taking place. Some students also ask, like, is coma patient is live or not? Yes, coma patient is live because its heart is pumping now, so it is the live state. That's why coma patient is also in live state. Then next is what is the reproduction? Re means repetition and production means to form. Production means formation. Re means repetition. Sorry. Reproduction is a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young one or the offspring. This is called as reproduction. It is a biological process in which organism gives rise to young one is called as reproduction. Reproduction has also two types: sexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction and the asexual reproduction. Sexual and asexual. Sexual reproduction means where that is male and female are required, or two species are required. This is the sexual reproduction, where female and male gametes are required, or we can say it is biparental. Biparental. Bi means two, parent means parents. Parental means parents. Two parents in that sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, only and only one parent is required in asexual reproduction. Only one parent is required. This is the asexual reproduction. Then in sexual reproduction, this is the detailed study, and asexual reproduction is also a detailed study. In asexual reproduction, it can be done by fission, then budding, then vegetative propagation, then regeneration, and then spore formation. In that way, this can be used. Then sexual reproduction. In that reproduction, this is the detailed study. Here, fertilization is important, and fertilization is interchangeably known as this. Fertilization interchangeably known as syngamy. Known as the syngamy. I will give you some differences in sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. First point is, in asexual reproduction, clones are formed. What are the clones? Clones means these are the organisms in which they form similar and identical copies of parents. This is called as the clones. Some important points about sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction and the asexual reproduction. First, we will see here parameters. Here, sexual and asexual. Sexual and the asexual. First is the speed. First parameter is speed. Second parameter is variation. Third is mitosis. First is speed. Sexual reproduction is the slow process. Why it is slow process? Because here two parents take parts in sexual reproduction. That's why it is the slow process. Why it is the fast process? Because here one parent forms the offspring. That's why it is the fast process. Variation in sexual reproduction causes the variations because here crossing over is taking place. Crossing over is taking place. Crossing over is taking place. In class 11th, we studied that key in patching, that is the prophase 1 patching crossing over takes place, and due to this crossing over, variations are done in sexual reproduction. In asexual, no any variation. No any variation. Mitosis, it is takes place in mitosis, it is takes place in here, but in sexual reproduction meiosis is taking place. In sexual reproduction meiosis is taking place. From where meiosis is taking place? When in gamete formation that meiosis is taking place. Then next point is fertilization. I have told that point in that previous slide, that is fertilization. Fertilization is interchangeably known as the syngamy, and this fertilization is present in that sexual reproduction. And asexual reproduction, no fertilization is taking place. Where the clones are formed? Clones are identical to offspring morphologically as well as anatomically. So these are found in asexual reproduction. Yes, clones are formed. In sexual reproduction, no clones are formed. In that way, this is a very important chart. You know very well. First parameter is speed. Yes, sexual reproduction is slow and asexual reproduction is fast. Then variation, crossing over is taking place, and in asexual reproduction, no any variation. If you want here, then you can write here in patching, that is prophase 1 of meiosis, where crossing over is taking place. Then mitosis. Mitosis means number remains the constant, and in that way it is present in the asexual reproduction. But in sexual reproduction, meiosis is done. When meiosis is done? When gamete formation are taking place. Then in fertilization or syngamy. It is present in sexual reproduction, no any role in asexual reproduction. Then clones, these are present in asexual reproduction and no clones are formed in sexual reproduction. reproduction. The next part is asexual reproduction. We have now detailed study of asexual reproduction. That is budding, fragmentation, regeneration, vegetative propagation, and on that way. First is the budding. First is the budding. Budding may be endogenous or exogenous. Endo means inside the body and exo means outside the body. Endo means endogenous and exogenous. In some time it is asked that budding is endo or exo. Budding can take place as well as in endo as well as in exogenous. Endogenous means endo means inside. Endo means inside. And exo means outside. Exo means outside. Endogenous. What are the examples of endogenous? Gemule formation in porifera. If you know, then gemule formation in porifera phylum. Gemule formation in porifera or in porifera. And outside in yeast. Which yeast? In Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Yeast is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This yeast is used for the production, for the fermentation of alcohol, and it is used in also bread production. And this Saccharomyces cerevisiae yeast is also known as Baker's yeast or brewer's yeast. Baker's means in bread and brewers means in beverages like alcohol, wine, etc. Then if that yeast is producing more than 13% alcohol, if that yeast is producing more than 13% alcohol, then it is known as yeast poisoning. And this yeast poisoning causes damage to the yeast. In that way, budding is completed. Next remaining asexual reproductions we are covering then you can share it, subscribe it to channel.